very good morning. We come to you from the banks of River Gomti on a crisp spring Lucknow morning on the fourth phase of polling. 59 seats have polled till now. We continue to report from the center stage of Lucknow or Awadh politics, Lucknow. With me is our national affairs editor, Rahul Srivastava. We're going to be cutting across the both of us to a battery of reporters spread across 9 districts covering 59 constituencies which are up for grabs today. By 6 p.m. this evening, viewers, more than 50% of Uttar Pradesh would have cast its ballot. Let's give you a quick insight on what the fourth phase of polling entails for Uttar Pradesh. 59 constituencies up for grabs, like I said, spread across 9 districts. Some high-profile districts, primarily Lakhimpur Kheri. Well, if you go back to 2017, the 8 seats of Lakhimpur Kheri were swept by the BJP. This time around, will things change? Coming at the back of possible farm anger on the Lakhimpur Kheri incident, which took place in October this year. The other constituency which is going to be looked at, the district of Rai Bareli, it's been the Gandhi bastion. Mind you, in 2019, the only constituency or the Lok Sabha seat which was retained by the Congress in Uttar Pradesh by Sonia Gandhi. Here, out of 5 seats in 2017, 2 went to the Congress, 2 to the BJP, 1 to the SP. But this time around, the 2 that had gone to the Congress have now defected to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Will Congress be able to retain which was once called the Gandhi bastion? Lucknow itself, a lot of high-profile political battles taking place in Lucknow with its 9 seats. 2017, 8 of the 9 were swept by the Bharatiya Janata Party. 1 went to the Samajwadi Party. Unnao again, 6 seats. The focus on Unnao, especially after Priyanka Gandhi kick-started her Beti Bachao, kick-started her Ladki Hu Lad Sakti Hu campaign from Unnao, giving the ticket to the Unnao rape victim's mother. Well, that is also, Unnao goes up for polls this day with 6 seats, 5 of them in 27 had gone to the BJP, 1 to the BSP. Permutations, combinations, caste calculations or local poll issues. Which will trump? We're going to cut across to our reporters, but let's dip into all the political reactions.
राजा जी, पैंडेमिक जैसा एक कई 100 साल में होने वाली ये घटना हुई. 2 साल काफी जो लोग आहत हुए, नाराज हुए. क्या आपको लगता है कि उसके कारण कहीं ना कहीं जनता में आक्रोश है? क्या आपको लगता है कि आप उस आक्रोश को शांत करने में सफल हुए हैं?
देखिए, कोरोना महामारी के चैलेंज को मीट आउट करने में प्रधानमंत्री ने जो दक्षता दिखाई है, उसकी सराहना सारे देश भर में हो रही है. यहां तक कि दुनिया के दूसरे देशों में भी इसकी सराहना हुई है. भारत ने जिस तरीके से इस महामारी से निपटने के लिए अपने प्रभावी कदम उठाए, और मैं मानता हूं कि इसके कारण कहीं भी हमारे मतों के प्रतिशत पर कोई प्रतिकूल असर नहीं पड़ेगा.
2019 में आप लोग जो भारत ने बालाकोट हुआ, आपके नेतृत्व में सेनाओं ने अचीव किया, वो एक बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा बना था, नेशनलिज्म इस सब का. उस टाइप की लहर नहीं दिख रही इस बार.
नहीं, हम लोग तो हम सार्वजनिक सभाओं में देख रहे हैं, जो रिस्पांस लोगों के द्वारा मिल रहा है वैसा ही रिस्पांस मिल रहा है जैसा 2017 में मिलता था.
राजनीतिक भाषा बहुत खराब हुई है सर इस चुनाव में, आरोप प्रत्यारोपों में.
नहीं, समाजवादी पार्टी, कांग्रेस वगैरह को लोगों को बचना चाहिए. लोग इधर उधर की बहुत ज्यादा शब्दों का प्रयोग करते हैं, बचना चाहिए इससे.
बहुत उत्साह भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रति लोगों का दिख रहा है और लोगों ने स्पष्ट मन बना लिया है कि विकास और सुरक्षा और समृद्धि, इसको उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता अपना ध्येय मान करके, अपना लक्ष्य मान करके कमल के निशान की तरफ तीव्र गति से अग्रसर हो रही है.
प्रथम चरण के साथ.
All right, let's cut across to our reporters tracking the fourth phase of polling spread across 9 districts. Let's cut across right now. We've spoken about Lucknow, we've spoken about Pilibhit, but let's go down to Bundelkhand. Let's go down to Banda, where the poll or local issues are very different than what they are in Pilibhit or Lucknow. Water is a huge problem. Joining me from there is my colleague Shreya Chatterjee. Shreya, you know, in Lucknow, the polling not as brisk. We're hoping the numbers pick up as the day progresses. What are you picking up from Banda?
Banda, the last voter turnout that has been updated was somewhere around 8.10%, and we see a lot of voters queuing up. I'm at the Banda Sadr Assembly constituency, and there are 4 constituencies that are going into polling in the Banda region, which includes Baberu, includes Narayani, includes Tindwara, and Banwa Sadr. Now, the key issues that actually dominate this particular district is definitely water. It's a dry and arid region. That's exactly why we saw that one of the key highlights that the BJP kept on making was the Jal Jeevan Mission. The Har Ghar Nal project is something that the BJP reiterated during their campaign in the Bundelkhand region when the Home Minister was here in the Tindwara region. He spoke about the development projects because somewhere down the line, this is one of those districts which is an extremely backward district. 34 total backward districts in Uttar Pradesh. This is one such. Economic distress is an issue. Water is an issue. We also do see that stray cattle is also an issue over here when you move to the rural belt. So whether or not the Bharatiya Janata Party that swept the 4 constituencies in 2017 retains is something we'll have to watch out for. But they are banking on key development projects. On the other hand, the SP and the BSP, they are speaking about not work being done and also about the economic distress that is here in this district. And definitely we'll have to wait and watch out for what pans out on the 10th of March. But BJP is clearly bank on the development projects they have announced for Banda.
All right, Shreya, there are certain constituencies, there are certain districts where, the cacophony of polarization, the rhetoric of caste calculations falls short. Possibly in certain areas of Banda, the local issues will prevail, like Shreya was pointing out. Number one for Banda in many, many constituencies is water. Let's cut across right now from Banda to Lucknow, which Samarth is joining me, my colleague Samarth Srivastav. Samarth, one can quote an old political cliche, the road to Delhi comes through Lucknow, but Lucknow is going to see some very, very keen contest this time around. Political history, testimony, 2017, 8 of the 9 went to the BJP, 1 only to the SP.
Well, exactly, but where I'm reporting from is the Shia Degree College. It's Lucknow, not the old Lucknow, but people out here are facing some problems. They are unable to vote. Some were shown dead, while others are unable to vote via Aadhaar card. I have been joined by lots of voters who are unable to vote and are complaining that why they haven't been allowed to vote. क्या नाम है आपका?
सर दिव्यांशु स्वर्णकार।
क्या दिक्कत आ रही है?
सर आधार कार्ड लेकर आए हैं सर, बाकी डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी हैं बट वोट नहीं डाल पा रहे हैं।
क्या कह रहे हैं अंदर?
सर कह रहे हैं कि बिना वोटर आईडी कार्ड के वोट नहीं डाल सकते। सर इससे पहले मैं वोट डाल चुका हूं और मेरी रिसिप्ट पर्ची भी आई थी, बट इस बार ना घर पे कोई बताने के लिए आया, ना जो है आधार कार्ड से वोट पड़ रहे हैं। बाकी लोगों के पास सर आधार कार्ड, पैन कार्ड भी है, वोटर आईडी कार्ड भी है, जैसे कि ये जरा ये।
माता जी क्या नाम है आपका?
बिमला।
क्या दिक्कत आ रही है आपको?
भाई हमको वोट ही नहीं डालने दे रहे हैं ज्यादा।
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
कह रहे हैं कि आधार पहचान पत्र लेके आई है।
हाथ में क्या है?
ये पहचान पत्र है, अरे वो आधार कार्ड, तो वो हमारे पास मिल नहीं रही, पता नहीं कहाँ रख।
आप भी वोट नहीं डाल पाए?
जी हमारे पास तो पूरा ये है, मगर हमारे लिस्ट में कह रहे हैं नाम ही नहीं है।
आखिरी बार कहाँ डाला था?
यहीं डालते हैं, शेख कॉलेज में पढ़ता ही है।
आप ही क्या समझते हैं?
सर मैं 20 साल से वोट डाल रहा हूँ। 20 साल में पहली बार हुआ है मैं वोट नहीं डाल पा रहा हूँ, और मैं हर बार आधार कार्ड से वोट डालता था, लेकिन अपील में गया कि आधार कार्ड से वोट नहीं पड़ेगा और एक
हमारा भी आ ही नहीं रहा है, नाम ही नहीं आ रहा है लिस्ट में, ना इसमें शो कर रहा है।
माता जी भी देखिए, यहाँ बुजुर्ग भी। आपको क्या दिक्कत आ रही है?
हमें दिक्कत ये है कि मरा हुआ दिखा दिया, हमारे पास पहचान पत्र
मरा हुआ दिखा दिया
जी, और पहचान पत्र भी है, हम सामने खड़े हैं और मरा हुआ दिखा दिया सब तरफ।
तो आपने अंदर बोला नहीं?
हमारी लड़की गई थी, वो फिर हमको लेके आई है, तो वो मिल नहीं रही, जिन्होंने ये सब कहा है वो मिल नहीं रही, ढूंढा जा रहा है उनको, और हम बैठे हैं।
आपको क्या दिक्कत आ रही है?
मेरा भी लिस्ट पे नाम ही नहीं है, कल से सर परेशान है, ढूंढवा रहे पर लिस्ट पे नाम मिल नहीं रहा है।
पर्ची आई थी?
जी पर्ची नहीं आई है
सर।
सर मेरे पास वोटर आईडी कार्ड भी है और मेरा इससे पहले भी मैंने वोट दिया हुआ है, और इस बार मेरा पर्ची में नाम ही नहीं आया है।
ऐप है इनके पास, ऐप पे ये नंबर डालने हैं, EPQ नंबर डालने हैं, बट इसके बाद भी वो रिजल्ट नहीं आ रहा है। सर मेरे में भी सेम हो रहा था, चाची है मेरी, उनके भी सेम हो रहा था।
ये एक और आ गई। क्या
मेरा कह रहे नाम नफीसा बानो, कह रहे हैं नाम कट गया है।
आपका नाम कट गया है?
कह रहे नाम कट गया। बताइए कि 2 घंटे से हम 3 घंटे से परेशान नहीं है, ना आधार से निकल रहा है और ना उससे निकल रहा है।
आखिरी बार कहाँ वोट डाला था?
हमने यहीं डाला था।
आज क्या कह रहे हैं अधिकारी?
आप कह रहे का नाम कट गया।
ये देखिए।
So these are the problems being faced by the voters here. I have been assembled with a lot of public here, and some haven't complained and went out without voting, while some others stood there seeing us and complained. So it's going to be seeing that how the solution of this problem will be sorted out. Yes.
Well, that is a grave issue that you're highlighting, Samarth. A lot of voters, where my colleague Samarth is elucidating that they can't find their names in the voter list. This will be picked up politically, especially keeping in mind the demography of the area. Appreciate you joining us, Samarth. We're going to continue coming back to you for more updates on that story. I want to cut across right now from the city of Lucknow to Pilibhit, where my colleague Ashutosh Mishra joins us. Ashutosh, Pilibhit was swept by the BJP once again 2017, but borders Lakhimpur. It's a district which is said to have the fallback of what happened in Lakhimpur in terms of, the farm unrest post the Lakhimpur incident. Has it rubbed off on Pilibhit or not? What are you witnessing?
बस 2-4 लोग please. Absolutely. And that perhaps could be a major concern when Varun Gandhi, the own parliamentarian of the BJP, has turned rebel. But in the meanwhile, Preeti, I have some information to share that in Pilibhit town, in the remote part, there is a village called Imlia. And here, the villagers have boycotted the voting. So there is some around 600 voters. And at the polling stations, barely 7 to 8 people that I can see who have turned out for the voting. And here, these villagers have boycotted the voting. And what is the reason? The better first we talk to these villagers. BLO साहब, कितने टोटल वोटर हैं, कितने वोटर्स आए हैं और जो नहीं आ रहे हैं, क्या वजह बताई उन्होंने?
579 वोटर्स है सर यहाँ पे इस बूथ पे, और लगभग 125 वोट अब तक पड़ चुका है। गांव के जो लोग हैं उनका मेन प्रॉब्लम जो है रास्ते की है। यहाँ रेलवे क्रॉसिंग पे जो है पहले रास्ता था वो बंद कर दिया गया है रेलवे के द्वारा, और एक अंडरपास बनाया गया है जिसमें कंटिन्यू पानी भरा रहता है। तो यहाँ लोगों के जो बच्चे पढ़ने के लिए जाते हैं या लोगों को भी गुजरना पड़ता है, तो वो बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है इन लोगों के लिए।
तो आप रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं उनको कि जाएं वोट
डालने के लिए कि आप सभी आए, अपने मत का प्रयोग करें, क्योंकि ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है आप लोगों के लिए। सबके जो है रिक्वेस्ट किया गया है, एसडीएम साहब भी आए थे, उन्होंने सब लोगों को समझाया तो सभी लोग मान गए।
Even the officials, higher officials have visited this place, but that explains in the remote areas, particularly the key development issues. But the villagers, those who have boycotted the polling, ये सबसे बड़ा आपका अधिकार होता है। अगर आप वोट नहीं डालेंगे तो 5 साल शिकायत कैसे करेंगे? तो वोट क्यों नहीं डाल रहे हैं?
वोट साहब इसलिए समाधान हमारा हो जाए तभी वोट डालें।
Ashutosh, may I please come in? I apologize. The reason which we are getting in political reactions, the Shahi Imam now speaking to India Today. Listen.
एक डेमोक्रेसी का फेस्टिवल है, उसको सब लोग बराबर से सेलिब्रेट कर सकें।
All right, okay. Let's cut across right now to our guests. We're going to continue to go to our reporters, but, it's the 4th phase of polling. Lots of issues right now. Will the voter go with, caste calculations, the arithmetic there? Is there chemistry towards one particular party? Will things change from what it was in 2017? This phase extremely crucial, as much for the BJP as for the Samajwadi party. Cutting across to Manisha Priyam, joining us as political analyst. Ms. Priyam, in 2017, out of 59, 51 seats had gone to the Bharatiya Janata Party. It is traditionally considered a BJP stronghold. The caste calculation seemingly in favor of the BJP. Lots of urban pockets as well. Traditionally, urban voters are supposed to be with the BJP. But also, we know what happened in 2012. The Samajwadi party had done fairly well.
Yes, Preeti. Good morning, good afternoon. This is the most important phase as far as the Uttar Pradesh elections are concerned. You have rightly noted the turns and twists of the 2012 and 2017 voting. Let me reaffirm with you that yes, this has been traditionally a stronghold of the BJP, especially urban centers like Lucknow, which are important not just for urban, but you can also see that the Shia Muslims have traditionally voted the BJP. They've been very vocal about it. So for many reasons, the BJP is on a strong wicket here, for reasons of history, for reasons of social alliance. But this time around, as you can see, this is a very, very tough election. On the news analysis that I've been hearing until now, people have called the region bellwether. People are willing to talk about every seat. People are willing in the same breath to talk about Chhutta Pashu as they are willing to talk about, economic issues, hard economic, macroeconomic issues like price rise, unemployment, the lack of basic services. So what you can see is that basic issues have come to the fore. Yes, it is a festival of democracy. The voter has spoken as a citizen. They've seen rules by the Samajwadi Party, by the BSP, and now the BJP. The voter, however, wherever they may be casting their votes in their wisdom, they have not hesitated in bringing up their issues to the fore. Also interesting that, the unfortunate incidents of the violation of human rights of Nirbhaya, the Congress party not doing very well, but it's been able to make a mark with its candidate selection, with its Main Ladki Hoon type of campaign. I would add here that in this phase, still the drama of whether the BSP votes will remain intact for it or not, or will some of the BSP votes be taken away by the two lead contestants, the SP and the BJP, that remains a question mark, and it hangs large over this phase of the elections. The drama in Raebareli also tells you that the taking over of assets from the Congress party by the BJP continues. Aditi Singh, therefore, her battle in Raebareli is very, very significant. So the BJP is continuing its foray into taking away what it can from the Congress party and hopes that it can take away some of the core voter base from the BSP. The Samajwadi Party, on the other hand, as you can see, is making news in terms of what it's done in grounded, ordinary ways. Every seat becomes important. Moment local, journalists or political analysts join you and others on the channel, they start giving you an account of each seat. And therefore, even as voter turnouts may be low, politically, this battle for Uttar Pradesh is very, very important. It's highly localized, and the voter has spoken up on issues that matter to them. I do not think that Chhutta Pashu could have become such an important issue had the voters not foregrounded this. It also talks about some amount of urban and rural bridging of issues as far as this election is concerned.
Well, as our reporting team has progressed from the west to the east, the issue of stray cattle, Chhutta Pashu or Avara San is huge. It's echoing in most rural constituencies as possibly the #1 local issue. But a lot of points that Manisha Priyam made, primarily also the game of the Congress here. On ground, clearly what we can see and we can report, it's a bipolar contest between the Samajwadi Party and the BJP. But for the Congress, this phase could be a token fight in terms of prestige. Raebareli, there are 5 in Raebareli. There are 5 seats. Of the 5, 2 went to the Congress, 2 went to the BJP, 1 went to the SP. The 2 that went to the Congress in 2017, both those candidates now within the BJP's fold. On the other hand, Unnao is where Priyanka Gandhi had kick-started her Ladki Hoon Lad Sakti Hoon campaign by giving a ticket to the Unnao rape victim's mother. That is a seat which will be closely watched, because that would be the acid test of Priyanka Gandhi's campaign at all, even if it is just that one odd seat there. But I want to take the last bit with what Manisha Priyam was saying to our national affairs editor, Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, in the end, what Manisha Priyam said was of significance, that it's come down to each constituency, something you'd said earlier as well. For the first time, when you're on ground, hawa nahi hai, leher nahi hai. Each constituency is being hotly contested, and it's going to come down to the wire there.
Yeah, one senior neta today morning told me कि हर constituency में candidate को कुआं खोदना है और वहीं पानी पीना है, ये नहीं है कि नदी बह रही है. You see, the moment the overarching, polarizing communal wave dies down in UP, this is exactly what happened. It's not new to UP. I think it takes usually 3 to 4 years for a wave like this to die down. If you look at 1989 to 1992 Babri demolition, by 1994-95 the BJP was struggling, and by 2002 and all, the BJP had completely lost the plot and was reduced to be a player behind SP and BSP. But I think it is primarily because of the dominant players like Narendra Modi that the BJP could actually sustain it for 7 years. And after that, now we find that it is dying down. Then again, but eventually, though we may talk about how local issues do play a ground, but I think there are political ironies in Uttar Pradesh which you lift a stone anywhere and you will find them residing there. For example, we are standing at the Gomti River front. Akhilesh Yadav in November 2016 inaugurated it, but did Lucknow vote for him? Eventually, this was a dirty little embankment of the river
it's a wonderful place now, but he brought metro, he didn't get the votes. Similarly, I think all over UP, lot of dominant issues like caste and others are at play. For example, I would like to talk about this region is a very interesting region also because, one, you said Lakhimpur Kheri. You see, this the Tarai region has a sizable population of Sikh who come down in now some 60 years ago and settled here and brought great agrarian results to this area. They are unhappy with the BJP. They had voted for the BJP last time around. So that's going to be a big factor. Then there is Mr. Varun Gandhi, unhappy with the 7 years ignored itch. So he's become a factor in the Pilibhit region where BJP had swept all 4 seats. Then I think there is very important issue here in this region is which should not be ignored is that there are constituencies like Kheri, Sitapur, then there is Unnao and others where the Dalit population actually touches at times 40-45%. And these are not Jata voters which are loyal to Mayawati. These are Parsis and others. Now this vote was the BSP's domain, but it drifted over to the BJP and strengthened the BJP and helped the BJP, make it a virtual stronghold. But who's going to get their vote this time around does the BJP have enough magnetic pull this time around to keep getting their votes, or Akhilesh Yadav is going to make certain dents? If Akhilesh Yadav does make a dent, then definitely what one can say is that in at least 25 odd seats in this region, there is a big fight on.
All right, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to slip into a quick break. When we return, we're going to cut across to Sanjay Singh and Mr. Sudhir, Abhishek Sudhir. We're going to talk about the arithmetic, who does the arithmetic lie with, who has the chemistry, what's going to work in terms of the caste calculations. Do stay with us. Or, of course, will local issues be primary? A quick break to stay with us.